Hey guys, well, back to the same spot with a good old chair that I sat on yesterday, as long as I don't go collapsing on me. Should have bought a pillow. Getting easier this talking in front of the camera, especially when there's no chemicals falling out of the air that we're breathing in, slowing our minds down. They call it brain fog, and all the adverts saying, are you procrastinating? This is the reason why. No, this is the reason why. You're breathing in crap out of planes, so they block out the sun. But that's another story. Definitely getting easier talking and flowing. I really enjoyed speaking last time. Getting a few tales out. Now what I want to speak of today, I haven't really decided. It's a beautiful day. Birds are tweeting, there's a little birdie just up there. Hello, little birdie. Words are spells. Every word you say, every action you make and do, every thought you have, everything you touch, and the thoughts you have as you touch, whatever you touch is also magic. Imagine that you are literally a witch or a wizard, or a spiritual soothsayer, whatever you wish to call yourself. Someone chosen by God, given God's powers, whatever it may be. So you would be very, very cautious about what you say and how you say it, the frequency in which you emit. Sometimes when I'm listening to someone speak, I don't necessarily listen to what they say, but how they say it. I can tell a hell of a lot about someone by this, because it's the frequency. I've been lied to and manipulated so many times. It's almost like you get used to it. And once you get used to it, you start seeing that there's a formula. There's a formula to everything. There's a formula to making a cup of tea. And once you know how to make said cup of tea, you can see other cups of tea being made all around the place. Like when someone lies and manipulates you, you suddenly notice the formula. Pattern recognition, I believe it's also known as. And this has happened to me chronically for such a long time. So it's the frequency one emits and the actions one makes and takes, and one's intentions. And if you was a witch or a wizard or a truly magical individual, maybe someone known as a universal human being, you'd realise that everything you do creates the future as you move into it. And if the people that control this world, and I think we're realising now that there is a group of individuals who are most definitely controlling the world, they're the ones who own all the bombs and armies, yes? They want everyone to be under control, completely and utterly, however, full spectrum domination, control 100%, this is their goal. And they understand, in practice, the knowledge that is now being passed around the internet, especially with the documentary called The Secret. Amazing documentary, you should watch it at least 5 times a year. Get the book. I have a copy of the book underneath my pillow, so the energy of said book goes into my head every night, okay? Learn The Secret, the documentary called The Secret with Bob Proctor. So the people that run the world, they know that by daydreaming, you can make your beliefs. You can create the reality that you move into by daydreaming, by having a thought, a visualization in your mind's eye up here, where you can visualize the red door, the green lake, and the beautiful mountain on the other side of that lake as the sun's rising. There's mist all over that lake. Whether your eyes are shut, you can see that in your mind's eye. That's the all-seeing eye, that's the pineal gland, that's the eye on top of the pyramid, that's the third eye. It's your ability to do magic. It's your ability to create your future as you time travel into it. Every second that goes by, we manifest it. Every second goes by, it's not coming back again. And every second it's approaching, you've created it. So if you're told lots of things that are not true, and you believe them, belief, power of belief, then that's what you manifest. Oh, things are going to be really expensive, and the cost of living, and terrible things are happening everywhere. Why don't the newspapers ever say something nice and great? Ever? Come on, this is another free question. Another free question. We live in such an amazing world, and we have all this technology and power to do great things. Why is not very great things happening, and unrighteous things happening always? And why are you always told things by the media which, for some strange reason, you keep buying the paper of and keep flipping onto the channel and being told that you're stupid, basically? Why? Hypnosis? In a habit? Boom, 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 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Bad things are happening, buy another newspaper. Why is it not great? Great things are happening. Wonderful things are happening. Why is whenever someone who comes up with a righteous message attacked? And they're attacked in the same way, it's a formula. It's always the same way. Even, and remember I said I haven't watched TV in a long time. But they're even starting to put thriller special effects music and darking out scenes. And it's not the genuine person, it's an actor reconstructing what might have maybe hearsay happened to discredit somebody. And they play spooky thriller music in the background. Do you think maybe that's to get you to believe something? But I thought one would just present you some information and you make your free choice to whether you wish to believe something or not. Why would you need special effects music? Imagine you go into court and you're accused of something, and the opposition comes in and starts speaking about what you're supposed to have done, and all of a sudden it gets really dark and some spooky music gets played. Can you imagine that? Well, that's what's happening. I don't even watch TV no more, and I flipped on, like, I go around someone's house and the TV's on, it's just like, honestly, I look at their person and I look at the TV and I look back at them in absolute disbelief. But then, I haven't watched TV in a long time. Like I said, I challenge you all. 3 months, no TV. None. If you're going to put YouTube on, put my channel on. Or put some relaxing music on or something. 5 to 8 hertz healing energy music. And literally have no social media, no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channel, nothing. For 3 months. And then go and watch it again. I guarantee you will be horrified. You will be shocked. You'll be disgusted at yourself that you used to sit there dribbling, holding the remote like that all fucking evening. Or every time you get some spare set, you sit there like that and you get dumbed down, lied to. Your role models should be great figures. If you're watching TV, that's like you're there. It's the same thing, it's no different. So them's your role models. Man, shame on you. If you don't know the difference and that's what you want, then you crack on and stop watching this channel, because, I will disrupt your peace, But if you realise I've got a point, hear what I'm saying. And I say shame on you, and I talk about shame and pride. Admit it. Then you can be proud that you admitted it. If you can't, and then that's your shame, which you're going to deny and be ignorant about, be pedantic and argue the toss. That's the problem in your head. Remember, you've got nothing to defend. Why are you defending it? There's no point. Sit there and go, right, okay, I feel all these emotions. I'm angry, I'm disgusted, I feel ashamed, all of this. The second you go, oh yeah, that's it. It's so easy. Oh yeah. That was admitting something to yourself. Not to me, I don't care. The second you admit something to yourself, and to stop your guts twisting, you need to laugh. Just a little, even if it's just a little chuckle. Because it's freeing, it's liberating, it's wonderful. There's that word, my favourite word, it's wonderful. And then you get to be proud. And you get to start the journey of 1,000 miles. Words are spells. Everything you say is magic. Everything in the world is magic. We are magical beings and we live in a magical world. Nothing's changed. I was even thinking on the way over here, walking, strolling slowly. The stick encourages me to stroll slowly, and as I stroll slowly, I think differently and I take in different sights and have different thought processes. And I realised I'm a true believer that the ancient world, all the fairy tales we've been told, fairies, dragons, wizards, being able to talk to animals, animals that could talk actually our language, like all these things. I'm a firm believer that this was the actual case, and that it's such a long time before we know of what history was recorded, and then now it's been rewritten. I think that's also apparent. That it's turned into fairy tales. And just like I said, if you could sit down and watch a fanciful film like Harry Potter on TV, that's a magical device, but you just believe it's technology. Belief, false belief. And then either your parents come in and say it's time for bed now, or you get up and turn it off and be like, right, I've got work tomorrow, so I'm turning this off. You're back to this cold reality with no beliefs of truth, only what you're told. And the same with the fairy tales. You can put complete and utter wonder in children when you tell them fairy tales. But what if it was all true? What if before history and in the ancient past it was all true? So I'm a firm believer that this was the case. So as I was walking over here, I was thinking, well, we can whistle. Birds are whistling everywhere, and we can whistle. I went, music is magic. I already knew this one, but we can whistle and birds can whistle. There's a correlation there, I says to myself. Then I was thinking a little bit more, swinging my stick around. And it suddenly occurred to me, there's parrots. And I think there's some craniums, some crows or rooks that can also utter a few human words. And parrots definitely can. And if we think back over thousands and thousands and thousands of years, there are animals that are either not around anymore or become extinct or moved off to more distant lands or suddenly warped off to a different frequency and a different reality. Who knows? If a parrot can talk, then if you go back thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, even millions of years, who's to say that there wasn't animals and creatures that could talk and that we could communicate with them? No one. There's only people to deny something they haven't got a clue about. They haven't got a clue, full stop. That's why they get told stuff that's a pile of shit. Make believe from your daydreams to be free. Everything that I've been told that's not true, not real, I've found that in my own life that these are real. And I have no real evidence because it happens to me personally, but I have my tale to tell and my stories to tell. Okay? And some people that hang with me on a regular basis have seen the fact that I get the same numbers all the time, and then some people I can notice that they've got the gift, and I say, well, you're going to notice a whole bunch of coincidences, and then you'll see probably the same numbers everywhere you go. You're not going mad, just go with it, blah, blah, blah. And then they come back to me and they're saying, yeah, you weren't wrong, this is happening, that's happening. And other people, I've said that, if you're going to do something like this, something will happen, and which I'll speak about in later episodes. And they've gone and done the said thing, and they come back a couple of days later gone, yeah, that exactly what you said happened. And that's good. For me, that makes me feel good. That's why I don't say gods, I say the gods. Because, hey little bug dude, I say the gods. When I go to sleep, I astral project places, I travel. I don't really have dreams anymore. It's always ancestors coming to see me, give me messages, or I've bumped into gods whilst astral projecting. Pan, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It's about that big, little pot belly, cloven legs, made of golden moonlight. Absolutely beautiful, amazing. I felt so at one and at peace the next day. And then I'd forget and remember again, and it's like, oh wow, yeah. something, man. It was amazing. Again, I'll go into a lot more detail in other episodes. I have dreams of the future many times. Not just a few times, many times. Only little snippets. The last time I dreamt of the future, I dreamt of a big thumbstick in the woods. Massive thumbstick it was. And the very next day, no, I tell you, it wasn't the next day, a couple of days later, I'm walking down the street. As you can see, I've got a thing for knobsticks. I've always wanted to make one, and I've made one now, so that's settled my curiosity. I walk down the street and I see in the window of a hiking shop the biggest thumbstick I've ever seen in my life, and it was actually for sale. It was massive. It's still there. It's so big that even if you're tall, your hand ain't going to get to the top of it. I don't see the point of thumbstick that tall and fat at the end. Maybe someone can fill me in. I have no idea why you'd want a thumbstick that big, but that was the thumbstick I dreamt of a few days before. It was a giant thumbstick laying on the floor in a forest. Next minute I see in the window of a shop a giant thumbstick. I walk in, I look around. The first thing I see that is of correlation is 2 knobsticks in a basket with some other thumbsticks. So I get little snippets of the future, therefore I know that telepathy is real, psychics are real. I've done what people would call folk magic many times, so I know magic's real. Music is magic, that's what brought me onto it. I've manifested with the universe, so I know that that's real. If that's real, then folding your hands and praying is also real. I've seen Pan, therefore the gods are real, which is why I say gods and not God. I say universe and source and spirit and ether. And for anyone who gets pedantic, I say, well, look, I'll call it Bob and you call it God. What's the difference? Remember, I'll answer your sentences with a question mark. Get the other person to think. Leave it with them. Otherwise, whatever they say or do will sit in your gut and mind and twist it up. And you know it's not fair. You get frustrated. I've had dreams that have gone on in dream time for nigh on a day and a half. And it was hyper realistic. I was there. I knew I was there, and the sense of deja vu was just absolutely so strong. And it just went on for a day and a half. I slept 8 hours, but the dream itself just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Fucking ridiculous, man. So like I said, I don't really dream anymore. I have these crazy ass travelling dreams, and it all started when I was 33. So I look for the formula in things. Look at history. Oh, history goes back this far, but then there's this missing link that scientists just can't figure out. What a pile of crap. What a pile of crap. Really? Well, let's just have a think about this. We've got dragons in all sorts of different civilizations. We've got pyramids all the way around the world that they'll still say that didn't know about each other, even though step pyramids, and I come up with this in school, I was shouted at. Step pyramids in Brazil and South America, and then you've got step pyramids in Egypt and all over the place. Now there's pyramids around the world, we've realised, even under the water, you know. And then there's dinosaurs, and there's tails. The Vikings have got tails. Their ships are made like sea monsters, like sea dragons. Oh, but no, there's a missing link that we just can't, you know what, that missing link that correlates perfect to all the fairy tales and myths. Really, that missing link? Come on. And if all places around the world had stories of dragons, you say, what about the Chinese dragon? It flies through the air, but obviously that's not real. There's a snake that can, and it's in Asia, that can let itself go out of a tree, and it slithers through the air. And as it does, underneath it, it's got like a air channel, like a wingsuit. It's got this air channel from its belly, from under its chin all the way down to its tail, that fills up with air as the snake's slithering through the air. And like a pheasant can fly, not that far, but it can fly, it will slither through the air and then wrap itself around another tree. Well, things were bigger back then. Even an earthworm, they found earthworm tunnels that you can practically walk down, massive, and that's just an earthworm. Everything was bigger back then. So there's your flying dragon. You've got to think freely and ponder and create with your mind. You've got to assume, but assume based on the opposite of the lies you've been told. Oh, there's a missing link and we just don't know. And then they're going to get you to believe things like, for example, evolution. Find me an animal that's mid-evolved. In a seaside town I grew up in, there was this sign, and it spoke of evolution. It was talking about the flatfish, how the flatfish used to be one of those fish that swim like this, but it's obviously it's flat, but it would be vertical swimming. And then through evolution, for about 100 and something thousand years, it swam diagonally. Apparently, how the fuck do they even know? You got to use your mind, otherwise you're going to sit there with your chips, dumbing your own children down, going, "Oh yeah, evolution and 100 and something thousand years," and you just word to spells, all these symbols, this writing symbols, and it's having an effect on your mind, and you ain't thinking freely because you're not used to. So then you'll waffle that bollocks to your children. Find me an animal that's mid-evolved. Find me one. Now, we as a race of humans can pass down knowledge, and that knowledge can mean the next race will grow into said knowledge. But we're not going to evolve into something. What the fuck's that about? Different. You know, you have a girlfriend who's Asian or a girlfriend who's Indian, and you know, we're all mongrels at the end of the day. But it doesn't create evolution. And through your life you can learn things, and you can say, well, I've evolved in my lifetime. Of course you can. But then you die. And your child, and your children, and your next generation, that they a standard, fresh slate. Now, trauma can affect the next generation. And this is where they say history repeats itself, and it does, and it can, in a generation, but that's still not evolution. Find me an animal that is mid-evolved. I challenge you to. Animals die off. Animals mate with other animals and create some sort of hybrid. Occasionally it can happen. That's still not evolution, though. Oh yeah, we used to... And they take the piss. Oh, we come from monkeys, apparently. And now they say, oh, actually, we come from pigs. Well, fucking get it right. And I thought there was a missing link you didn't understand about. So if you don't understand about the missing link, how the fuck can you say that? Fucking melts. How the fuck can you all believe it? Come on, how can you believe it? The Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory. How many documentaries are there, and how many people out there, how many teachers are there out there that talk of the Big Bang like it was real? They leave the word theory out, because there's documentaries that speak about the Big Bang like it's real, that's full of CGI. They leave the word theory out. They say, oh, the Big Bang, the event, the Big Bang, it happened, so you just start waffling it on like it happened. It's a theory. The Big Bang Theory. It's an idea. That's it. A theory, and then a hypothesis. None of these are factual. They're just ideas. Baseless ideas. But when you think freely, everything started with the Big Bang. This is where they fuck themselves up. Everything started with the Big Bang. The whole universe got shrunken down into nothing, and then there was a Big Bang. Well, if everything started with a Big Bang, how can you say the whole universe got shrunk down into nothing? Idiots. Yeah, I would get in trouble for saying stuff like this when I was at school. And you know what, to this day I still do. These are people that are defending a reality that's a pile of shit construct that's not theirs. And if you teach someone hypocrisy, they become a hypocrite. If you teach someone ignorance, they become ignorance. Like the theory of evolution. It's also a theory, by the way. It's Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, not factual, theory. So let's just recap for a second. We have the Big Bang Theory, and we have the theory of evolution. None of them have been proved. Yet you've got whole documentaries, books, whole generations, teachers, parents to children, teaching something like it's real, and getting fooled. It's such a hypocrisy, man. Like with say you go to church, and everyone goes to church, man, I love you for it. I go and get a giant bottle of holy water every couple of months. I've got my reverend takes me into his chambers and consecrates and blesses this giant old antique bottle of water. So, you know, I do my thing. I just don't, I pay homage, but I don't, there's no dogma in my life. I do what I want. But hoodoo is folk magic, and it takes from anything and everything wherever it wants to, anywhere. You know? So there's no prejudice, there's no oppression, there's nothing. There's only everything is energy. Voodoo translates to the spirit of God. And everything, absolutely everything has got spirit and magic and so on and so forth, which is again what I teach. We believe that Moses was the most powerful hoodoo man ever, because it comes out of oppression. Moses was oppressed big time. The next minute, boom, God gives him the powers of hoodoo. This is why I see people burning candles, and it's an orange candle on Tuesday and whatever. Yeah, if it works for you, great. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. But that's not real hoodoo. Hoodoo is out of oppression. Hoodoo is badass. Once you've been oppressed bad enough, and spirit gives you that power. So anyway, you go to church, and you listen to the reverends talk to you about this stuff. You know, you're born into sin, and Jesus died to protect us, to whatever our sins. I mean, it's whatever. Okay, so I've got to make sense of this somehow. And he loves you all, and you're all the lamb, and he is the shepherd. And then you go home and you eat lamb chops. You kill the baby. It's a baby. A lamb is a baby, by the way, a little toddler. You kill a baby. And don't get me wrong, I eat lamb hearts, but if I was king of a country, there would be no babies being killed whatsoever. You kill a baby, I'll cut your hands off. But as long as I need my protein, and I'm not a rich man, I'm not squeamish, everyone else is. That was a survival hack that I discovered years ago, which I've already given you guys. So I understand I'm part of this hypocrisy, but I'm also not a Christian. What's for dinner? Babe, what's for dinner? I've got lamb chops. Okay. What? You're killing Jesus' holy lamb, holy animal. The holy animal is a sheep. How many little baby sheep do you think get slaughtered so you can have lamb chops? And it says quite clearly in the Bible, don't eat anything, like don't eat pork. Yeah? Lists of animals that you can eat and that you can't eat. Sorry, a little fly just flew on that. Oh, ladybird. Hello. Come on. There you go. Now, lists animals that you can and can't eat. Pork is an animal that you can't eat. How many pigs do we eat? It also says in the last page of Revelation that I, Jesus, am that of the morning sun. Lucifer, son of the morning. The sun. Jesus is the sun. Worshipped on Sunday. Have you seen the light giver, son of the universe, the maker of all things? And he was saying we are all a son of the universe. For example, every bit of sunlight, I can't see your sunlight, you can't see mine. Physicists are starting to realise that we render and create our reality as we move into it. So this fella says that, you know, I can see this cup, but when I look away, that cup's not there, because I haven't manifested it into reality. And you go, no, it is there because I can see it. No, that's you rendering it. That's the same as Jesus' message. That sun that you see up there, like I said before, everything you see, it's actually in your mind. That's why they say the kingdom of God's in your mind. I can never see your light, you can never see mine. That's your light. That was Jesus' message. And it was an older message than the Roman Empire. The Celtic cross is the sun with the 4 seasons. And the Egyptian cross, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's a cross with a circle on top, basically. It's the same thing. It's the sun with the 4 seasons. Every time you're saying Amen, you're saying Amen Ra, the sun god. See, Rome had so many different kingdoms they had to conquer. They had conquered, and all these different kingdoms all had their own gods. So they consolidated all these gods. You had this fella called Jesus that was going around, and he was a real man. I'm not saying he wasn't a real man. He was of the house of David and the bloodline of Haile Selassie. You know, you're all searching for your Jesus, and that man carried the blood of Jesus. He was of the house of David. Everyone skanked on him, as in supplanted and betrayed him. It's another story. So the Roman Empire got this fella called Jesus that was saying, we are all the son of God, and he was spreading the same message that the Egyptians and the Celtics and in India and many different places were saying. And they said, all right guys, you want your son on a cross? So they took him and nailed him to a cross and held him up in front of everyone. And between that day and this day, if you do not believe in whatever they say, which is the Roman Empire, their version of what it is, which is why the Bible was written in a council of Nicaea by landowners and powerful men, and loads of books were left out of the Bible that were going to be in. I was taught that it was written by the hand of God. Shouted at, it's written by the hand of God, and all this, yeah? Talk about dumbing down. And if you don't believe in these things, you will be burnt in the streets in front of everyone, putting fear into everyone, so they do what we say. And they will tell people things that just doesn't make sense. It's a complete hypocrisy. Like I said, if you teach a hypocrisy, you become a hypocrisy. And you've got to understand that back then, no one could read. The vicar, the man with the book, is the only man who could read. So you go into church, and he stands there with this giant book, and through the stained glass windows, you've got this artificial light coming through the windows, and he tells you a whole bunch of things. Like when you go to a cinema, you go into a place with artificial light, and the screen tells you shit. You can't make that screen happen. People can. Who make the films. And now that's in our hands. And it has the same effect, the same spells being cast. What's it called? The flashing thing on a computer that makes the words appear? What's it called? A spell cursor, isn't it? Now, I'm not knocking any man or woman's faith, you understand? You know? I appreciate every person and every faith that they have. I don't really care. I'm a hoodoo man. I bounce into every faith that I want. Hindu, bit of Shinto, bit of Christianity, bit of spiritualism, some soothsayer. I go from the graveyard to the churchyard to the shops. I take anything I wish and utilise it like a travelling, wandering wizard. I'm a wandering hoodoo man, and I do what I want with no oppression whatsoever. Anyone got a problem with this? Well, they're the ones with the problem. I haven't. So I'm not knocking anyone's faith or religion. I'm just speaking facts. What people do with it is up to them. Words are spells. And every word you say and every intention you have, every frequency you emit, changes and warps your reality as you move into it. Even just warping your hands around. You have an aura around you. Tai Chi, that's what that's about. You don't necessarily need to get a Tai Chi lesson to know that you have a big bubble of energy around you that's your resonance, that's your aura. And if you're feeling very stressed and there's a lot of bad energy in that aura, you can literally just grab it and move it away. It's very, very simple. That's what I love about folk magic, is how simple it is. And some of the most crazy things have happened to me. And now they happen all the time, it's normal. But when they first started happening, it's like, no, that's undeniable, that happened. So when I was first getting spiritual... Hey, yeah. Oh, you're close. How you doing? Isn't that wonderful? I wonder what bird you are. So, when I was first getting spiritual, I realised that everything I tried was working. I went to a religious school when I was younger, and I'd say a prayer and I'd pray for things and I'd never see or got answered or noticed anything. In fact, I had a horrific time, very horrific time. But then all of a sudden I'm getting spiritual and everything that I'm trying is working. manifest with the universe. Boom, it worked. Learning about spirit science before that. My mind getting blown on a regular basis, having revelations. Watching a documentary where this dude says, when you start becoming spiritual, you'll notice a few coincidences, and before you know it, they'll be everywhere. Yep, everything's happening perfectly. I'm following these clues, and they're actually leading me places. So I'm walking down the seafront one day, and I'd met someone I hadn't seen since I was a kid. And I told, he goes, I haven't seen you in almost 20 years, what have you been up to? I told him. So, sorry to hear that, man. And then I told him to try and enlighten the situation. I'm very spiritual now, all these things are happening. I think I'm starting to believe in magic, you know what I'm saying? So he says to me that when he was younger, he used to draw a door on his skirting board. A bit of wood that goes at the bottom of the floor, and the bottom of the wall on the floor. And he would draw a door on it. And then he would go to sleep and be able to remember that he drew the door, and then in his dream he could open the door and go through it to this wonderful place. I'm not advising anyone do this, but I'll tell you what. So I'm like, oh wow, everything I've tried so far has worked. So now I'm going to try this. Seems interesting. So I drew a door, and I drew a lock and a key. And I was in my mind thinking, I'm going to draw a window, a mountain bike, a rucksack, an AR-15 assault rifle, you know what I mean? Nah, just a door, and a lock and a key. And I meditated before I went to sleep, focusing on this door. First night, second night, third night, nothing. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, poof. And it's like, when you close your eyes and you've got that fuzz, but I could see a circle that I could see through. And I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see the door. And it's like, wow. And I went to go a little bit closer, and all of a sudden something said to me, like a feeling, all right, you found the door, but it doesn't mean you need to go through it. And I woke up. I went running upstairs. I'm like, Mom. Got to tell her this. And as I usually knock and wait for an answer, but this was so important, I knocked and opened the door all at the same time. And as I did, my mum's sitting up in bed, clearing her eyes, literally just woken up. Like she was naturally waking up as I opened the door. Not that I woke her up by opening the door, you understand? So I'm opening the door and she's halfway through sitting up, clearing her eyes. And I'm like, I'm so sorry to burst in, but I've got to tell you about a dream I had. And she's like, no, I've got to tell you about a dream I had. This is crazy, she went. And I'm like a little bit annoyed because of the chance I might forget, you forget the dream as you wake up. I went, okay, you tell me about your dream then. She said, I dreamt of old London, old cobbled streets, old smaller bricks, but rather than the big red bricks, they used to be slightly smaller bricks. Some parts of London have still got these bricks. I remember my dad was old East End, so she said, I dreamt of old London, old cobbled streets, old bricks. And she said, this is really strange, because there was a skirting board running down that should be on the inside of the house, but it was on the outside of the house, running down the floor, and it was fresh wood. And your dad was there in his shorts and his t-shirt like he used to be, painting it black. Oh, wow. So I told my mum the dream that I had. And I don't think she believed me. And if she did, she didn't really want to admit things, but oh well. It was for me. It was for me. I can never deny that happened. I'm there trying to say, Mum, I astral projected and saw this door. That was all I was going to say, but I hadn't really astral projected before. Didn't know what that was. Travelling, I call it now, travelling as a spirit. And my dad was painting the skirting board black from the spirit world, from the afterlife, which is how I also know that this exists. And he's come in my dreams many times between now and then. And him painting it black was the feeling I felt. And saying, well, you found the door doesn't mean you need to go through it now. Which is also why I'm not advising anyone do this. My friend did this when he was a child. I'm not a child anymore. And I believe that he did go off to a very wonderful place. So there you go. It's one of my many tales. And these things that happened, like the first time I manifested with the universe, I said this on another episode, but I deleted it. It was on the files were corrupted, so I'll retell this tale. Back when I was raising my children, and I'd watched The Secret many times. I guarantee, and I very guarantee, I recommend you guys watch The Secret. Not just once. When you watch The Secret, imagine you're going to Hogwarts. You would pay attention big time. If you all of a sudden went poof and you realised magic was real and you were at Hogwarts and you're being taught something by Dumbledore himself, you would listen to every word. You would take it all in, like, listen to this man, listen to Bob Proctor, just like you listen to me. Take it in like it's gospel. Take it in, and not just once. Dram it into your head so you can repeat parts of the documentary verbatim. And not only that, like I do, watch it at least 5 times a year. Right? Study and worship The Secret. Documentary, Bob Proctor. I will leave links eventually. I'm a bit lazy at the moment. I'll be leaving more links and more descriptions as my channel takes off. I haven't even had one view yet, and I'm wondering whether I'm shadow banned. We'll see. I've got other, I'm going to make a bunch of social media accounts and so on and so forth, and then send links around the place to help invite people through to watch the channel. So anyway, I'd watched The Secret a handful of times. I probably watched it about 15 times over a year, or a year and a half, shall we say. And all the documentaries I watched, that one made so much sense. And I was used to taking in so much information at an alarming rate, so I needed something to just listen to. I had no intention of becoming spiritual or going down this path. I just needed things to listen to that can numb my mind as I go to sleep. But I'm also need a lot of information. I need the way my life's been. I love knowledge, so I study a hell of a lot. Now also, when you're raising children, you need something, your own space. Whether you're mama or papa, you need something. If it's a little corner, at the shed, going carp fishing occasionally, you need something, otherwise you go mad. You need just a little something that's yours. Doesn't mean you hate on your kids or anything. I'm telling you guys, you need to. And a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, mine was putting 3 or 4, plants that smell a hell of a lot outside, with the intention of actually bringing back something that's worthy, because in this country it's not very possible. So that was my thing to keep me sane, was to wander off, do a bit of sea fishing and scamper around on the cliffs and check my little things, see how they're doing. Always come back with absolute failures, animals eating them, they were stolen, so many times I've just failed and failed and failed. But it doesn't matter, it wasn't the point of that. It was the fact that I had something that was mine, that I can do. Keep me sane. Well, this year round, I had no benefits. I'm walking out on my woman and my children, which is breaking my heart on a regular basis because of the way she lived and the effect I had on the children, which wasn't a good one, I'm not going to say it was. And then I'm not hanging around, because that's a man's right is to get up and live. And then when I'd leave, within a couple of weeks, I'd get a call, oh, we need you, and this has happened, and that has happened, and blah, blah, blah. My mum said, I swear she got Munchausen's. Every time you leave, you get the fucking call, and yeah, it's a very fucked up situation. And then when I go back, the status quo would never change, so we all suffer more. I'm angry to this day over this. That's another, I've got to stay as calm as I can. I'm going to talk about all these things, but hopefully in a way that I can stay calm, because I want my guts twisting up. Or with a bottle of rum, and I'm just going to get all pathetic and express myself as honestly as I know how to, with a belly full of pirate juice and whatever. But I can't sit here and get frustrated and angry anymore over it. I've only just been able to settle down. Anyway, I've walked out on my woman. And I'm going loopy because when I leave, the children suffer, and when I go back, like I just said, there's no change. And I'm seen as the horrible one, and it's just, I'm sure there's many fathers out there who know what I'm talking about. So I'm watching spiritual things all day, every day. Nothing else to do. Walking around looking for work, but there ain't really much where I was. Other than that, I'm just more spirit science, more random documentaries about spiritual stuff, and hey, I need to go to sleep in the evening, and I don't want to be up all night with traumatic thoughts and pacing my front room. So I put The Secret on, for like the 15th time. So I'm watching The Secret, and it gets to a part of The Secret where it says, if you wish to manifest something small that's believable. That if it showed up, you would believe it. You wouldn't be able to deny it or go ignorant. You would, without a shadow of a doubt, believe it. Power of belief, okay? Full circle. And they mention as an example, try and manifest a glass of orange juice. Something just so small that if the next day it went poof, and it won't appear out of magic in front of you, but someone might say, here, look, do you want this orange juice? Like a carton or something. Or you might see a giant truck go by that's just loaded with orange juice. You might find a thing of orange juice. You might, in any way, some way or shape or form, you will see some orange juice, and you will have to admit that you manifested that it wasn't a coincidence. So I'm there in a chair in the evening, and I said, do you know what? Okay, universe, I would like to manifest the ability to be able to grow some of those smelly things outside this year. I've got no money, I'm late in the season, so the chances of that happening are so slim to none. Just, if that happened for any reason, I swear I'll believe in it. Okay, I took it off pause, I put it on pause to say that. Took it off pause, I carried on. Watching The Secret, and then went to sleep. I fell asleep in the armchair, and I got woken up to a phone call. House phone's right next to the armchair. Hello, mate. Hello. Yeah, I've got a bit of work for you if you want. So yeah, I really do want. Absolutely. What am I doing? Just painting my little girl's room. Sure, I'll do that. Go and do the work. Come home. Bish bash bosh. Got some money. I bought some smelly stuff on the way home. Bought some weed on the way home. I bought a kebab. Bought some beers and some tobacco. So, as would have been back in them days before I realised the error of my ways, I was living a ghetto life. So I'm just got paid. So I'm treating myself to some poison. Having my kebab. I've already had a joint. Now I'm going to crack open the beer. Smash that beer. Oh wow, that was satisfying. Now I'm having my other joint. After dinner joint and beer joint taste the best. So I'm enjoying this nice split. And there's a ring on the door. I still hadn't remembered the day before. There's a ring on the doorbell. Damn, my joint in the ashtray now. Who could this be? Go downstairs, unlock the door. Hello. Oh, hello mate. Did I leave anything on the job? No. I've got these. I was going to throw them out. I thought you might want them. I looked in a bag and there's 4 smelly plants, little baby ones. Still hadn't occurred to me. I went, yeah, I love them, yeah, thank you. Cheers, man. Went back upstairs, put the bag down, picked up my joint. Enjoying my life of Riley. And then I looked down at the table and I'm like, oh, I've got about, I don't know, about 45 or 60 quid, something like that left. And I says to myself, well, there's a pouch of tobacco and another quarter of weed. But if I don't, I looked at the plants all of a sudden. I said, well, if I don't buy a quarter of weed, and if I buy an eighth instead, that would be money left over to buy some soil. Back then you get a big thing of soil for literally a couple of quid. That's enough for me to get some soil and turn these 4 plants into cuttings, into mother plants, and then take cuttings from them. And when they're rooted, go and put them straight outside and put them bags of soil at the location, and I'll have an eighth of weed to go and, on my adventures with. And as I've said this, I suddenly remembered what I did the night before and the promise I made, and I'm not joking. I jumped out of that chair like a fucking startled cat with a dog going after it. I was like, no! And I jumped out of that chair to the other side of the room. And I'm looking back at the chair with my hand over my mouth, pointing at the chair in horror, like complete shock horror. I'm like, no, going around in circles, just saying no, just disbelief. Except I had to believe it, because that was the promise I made. I always said when I was younger, I ain't believing in none of this. Give me proof. There's no point saying something again and again and again and again. Give me proof. I would say, even as a kid, I get so much trouble for this. Give me evidence. I can't believe something just because you're saying it. All right, now you're getting angry and red in the face, and all right, I've got to miss my lunch and count the hymn books. I still don't fucking believe you. Give me some sort of evidence, otherwise I'm an idiot. I'm not a fucking idiot. And now all of a sudden I've got this evidence after years and years and years. I know that there is no way I can admit that that's a coincidence. No way. I weren't seeing the numbers yet. I think I was like 31, 32 when he said. And that year, even though my thingies got stolen, as I went down and I realised that they'd got stolen, I lifted up my boot and trod it into the mud. Was a tiny little nugget of smelly stuff that was trodden into the mud. And I picked it up and I brought it home, just a tiny little thing, like a little rollies thing. I smoked it the next day. That made me cough. That's all I needed to know. I'd achieved what I wanted to achieve. Some quality stuff that you can't really do in the UK. That was the first thing that I manifested, knowing that you can manifest what you want. I know you can do this. It's a fact. Right? And The Secret, the documentary The Secret, and the word manifesting, and law of attraction, and like attracts like, and chosen ones, and timelines. These words wouldn't be soaring around, say, the internet, but it's truly the world, if people weren't having experiences that are absolute undeniable. For we are moving into the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is a very spiritual age. And this is another proof that the message Jesus was saying is an older message. Jesus is the sun. His sign was a fish, because they were in the age of Pisces. And it says at one point in the Bible that his 12 apostles, which are the 12 zodiac signs, were saying that, Lord, Lord, what are we going to do when you're gone? He says, fear not. Go into the city and look for a man carrying a water pitcher, which is a vessel. A man carrying a water pitcher, a water vessel, is the sign of Aquarius. And the age of Pisces was a very bloodthirsty age. And the age of Aquarius is a very spiritual age. Whilst the word law of attraction and manifesting of the universe, and people said universe the universe, and actually having results from the manifestations, because the teachings are starting to be passed around. And where I've been very angry and frustrated, completely disgusted that the lessons of the elders are not handed down to the next generation as much anymore, if not anymore really. And we're being dumbed down and told to believe things that are just absolutely ridiculous. Enter the diagonally swimming fish, in fuck's sake. And now I see this. And now I pick up my lance and I enter the battle. For it truly is a spiritual battle. The universe and the mind are one. Scientists, I also need science. That's why I started this with spirit science. I need science, I need proof, I need logical explanation on top of someone saying something. It's belief, is that you put these things together, then your power of belief gets stronger. And now, with my faith is so strong, I embrace it. I just embrace the whole thing. And with that, now I'm on my path. I'm 100% there. I know what I'm doing. I'm very, very happy and proud to be part of this journey now. They took a photograph through the world's most powerful telescope of the universe. And they took a photograph through the world's most powerful microscope of the human brain. And these images were identical. So much so you could even put them over each other. The universe and the mind are one. The mind is a universe. Like, if you imagine that the universe itself grabbed you by the ears and put its head, if you could say that, into your mind and looked through your eyes. That's every one of us to the universe. That's why they say we're all one. It's just one energy. And you can't get rid of energy, you can only transform it, which is why you should have no fear of death. You prepare, this is one of my sayings, I like this. You prepare for death the second you're born. You get a whole lifetime to prepare for it. Do you know why? Because you only get one shot at it, so you best get it right. There's nothing to worry about. Ain't no fear. You give thanks for everything. Pain is just reminding you that you're alive. The minds in the universe are truly one. This is why you should love everyone, because we're all the same. This is why that one person's religion and another person's religion and another person's spirituality, they're all the same. But your intentions can be warped and twisted. Like killing people and hurting people and all this, sacrifices and all that crazy shit. I say I'm a hoodoo man, and people go, oh, that's not of the church, and that's black magic and that. Guys, I work with jelly beans and jelly babies and rum and tobacco. Yeah, sugar cubes. When I'm busking, I see another busker, and in my wallet I always carry some sugar from the cafe, you know, the sachets of sugar. Always carry some in my wallet, because it brings something sweet. Again, I'll teach of these things in later episodes, and little bits at a time as I go. So I see a busker and I take out my wallet and I naturally assume I'm going to put a couple of quid down, and I put a sachet of sugar down. And the people that know me say that every time you do that, within minutes, someone will come down and drop a fiver, because it attracts something sweet. Sugar cube is a crystal. Crystals accept information. This is magic. Music is magic. Magician, musician. We live in a magical world and we are magical beings, but if you don't know what magic is, how can you say whether it's real or not? And how can you say whether it's good or bad? Whether it's good magic or black magic? This is why I said it's about your intentions that count. You can do a hell of a lot of good with what people call black magic. And you can mess someone up, even yourself, by doing good magic, what people would call white magic, because you're stopping them from learning their lesson. It's an extension of the hand. You wouldn't punch a good person. You'd punch someone doing wrong to save somebody else. And you wouldn't hesitate, you'd do it, unless you're afraid, fair enough. You'd be proud of yourself if you did such a thing. You'd be a hero. Magic is just an extension of the hand, and every one of us are capable of doing magic. So the idea that someone's going to go, well, that's wicked and bad, whilst you eat a plate of lamb chops. It's about your intentions, and it's about truth and facing the truth. That's why they say the truth shall set you free. You live a lie and you're trapped. You get told a lie and defend said lie. Even if you're told the truth, you haven't got the courage to admit you were wrong. Therefore now you're going to defend a lie and even attack the person who's trying to set you free. You see? And this is why I love being able to speak in front of this phone now. Because I've tried for so many years, guys. I'm not joking. I'm like a loyal soldier that gets to the point, he's pulling himself across the floor with no legs left, digging his combat knife into the floor, still trying to help the person that shot him down in flames and cut his legs off. Still trying to help him, trying to give him the truth. I don't want to know. Alright? So I'm blue in the face, what a waste. But I now know about transmuting and transforming energy. All that pain, bitterness, resentment, fucking hatred and all sorts, I'm now turning it around, knowing that I get to say, well, bollocks to you then. Fuck you then. I speak to the world now. I'm very happy. And I naturally weed out the wheat from the chaff, separate the wheat from the chaff. Like Moses with his staff to the Red Sea, therefore I am. I speak, I have something to say, I say it. Some of you are not going to agree with me. Cool. Express yourselves in the comments or leave me alone. Okay? Start up your own channel and you know, slag me off. Crack on. I love you for it. I'm happy, really am. There are those that are going to be thankful for what I'm saying. And I'm going to put them on the path. And that's what I really wish to happen, is for everyone to be put on this path to realise that they weren't wrong, they were right. And even if you are wrong, admit you're wrong, because it gives you an opportunity to be right. I love being wrong. There's nothing to defend. And this was also why I said, I don't knock any man or woman for their religion. You know? whether you're Druid, Celtic, Shinto, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Protestant, Rastafari faith, some lost tribe that no one's ever heard of and you worship your coconut. I don't care. I know because I'm a hoodoo man, because I jump into all these faiths and take out what I want. I know that if you have belief, it will answer. And what is manifesting with the universe? That's excluding it all. That's excluding all of it. Just using your mind and visualizing and focusing on what you wish, acting and daydreaming like it's already happened, like it's already on its way to you, with the power of assumption. What's the mother of all fuck-ups is assuming. But when you're pondering, when you're manifesting with the universe, it's the opposite. It's not the mother of all fuck-ups. You assume it's already on its way to you, with faith, with the power of belief. You imagine the red dawn and the green lake with the mountain and the sun coming up and the mist on top of that lake. You imagine it so much till your heart starts pumping and you get goosebumps. This is doing magic. And this excludes every religion, every spirituality, every magic book and grimoire and everything, or every offering. And people around the world are realizing that this is the truth, this happens. So it doesn't matter. Everyone's got their right to create something, to say we're happy that we're alive. This is why it's so foolish to say, I've got this shape that I've turned into a logo, and I'm now gonna say that this shape is the reason that we have a belief that something happens. And someone else go, no, I've got this shape that I've turned into a logo, and it's this. And someone else goes, no, it's that. And you all war with each other and torture on each other, and that. And the people that got the truth, they get treated the worst. But now the truth is spreading like a wildfire. And only the bad people, the people who want to hold control, or the people that are willfully ignorant, only them ones will have a problem with it. Hence, wheat and the chaff are separated. And for the people who say I'm a blues man and I'm a hoodoo man and I'm going to burn in hell, well, let me tell you what hell is. Hell was a giant hill on the outside of Jerusalem that if you was a convict and you'd been executed, you were not permitted to be buried in the Holy Land, in the sacred grounds. So once a year, they would take all the bodies of the convicts and burn them on a big hill outside of the town or city, and this hill of the burning bodies was called hell. There you go. Simple explanation. There it is. I've had more answers and more what you would call miracles, which to this day we call coincidences. In the olden days they'd call it signs and omens. And now it's like on a daily basis, as I got here it was 53 on the time. You know, last night I had a dream where my dad came into my dream and warned me about something, because I'm in a bit of a magical battle with some people, and that's, again, I'll save that for another episode. But yep, something happened in a dream, and I see all these stickers everywhere with these sigil faces on it, which is death magic. Damn, I let that one out of the bag. I was going to save that for another episode. Oh well. These things happen to me all the time, and these crazy coincidences, they're not to mean crazy anymore. They still make me feel like, wow, I can't believe this, but I know to. My faith is stronger now, so stronger now. I'm a hoodoo man, and I'm a voodoo man to the day I die. Folk magic, gypsy magic, whatever you want to call it, I'm there. I love it. And I do my own thing. The most powerful magic is the magic you do yourself, that you don't learn from anyone. And that's the path I'm on now. You listen to this, you observe and this, and you embrace all the different emotions. You don't suppress them, they're there for a reason. And when you do this, you realise that you're in control of them, they're not in control of you. But when you have shame and you're indoctrinated to think things that are not going to empower you and serve you correctly, when you get these emotions, you suppress them, and then you deny them, and you go ignorant to them, willfully ignorant to them. And then they build up, and you end up with illnesses, mental or physical, spiritual. Either way, you end up with illnesses, problems. Someone like me will come along and say, look, guy, look, honey, it's like this, it's like that. Instantly, all that anger gets turned on me. Years been like this. Years and years and years and years. Doesn't need to be anymore now. I've made the decision to do this. I've been thinking about doing this for a good couple of years, and now this year, and working with the seasons and the moon and everything, I started this channel at exactly the right time, and I'm ploughing forwards now. I'm doing what I'm doing now. And true to my word, I haven't scripted anything. I haven't even made any notes. Every time I sit down, I just start talking. And I've yet to bring any. I want to bring like some food and some coffee in a flask or something. You know, I keep forgetting. So you can manifest everything you're doing. You woke up this morning, so you manifested waking up. You can manifest anything you wish, but be very careful. This is another reason why it says in The Secret to manifest a glass of orange juice. Because most people, they want money, but lots of money. Well, can you have a brand new front room without the decorators coming in and tearing your old front room to pieces? I mean, there's mess everywhere. It's not possible for this to happen, right? There will definitely be a big mess. So what will happen is the universe goes, all right, you want lots of money? Bam. You'll go through tragedies, horrors, your life will fall to pieces. You might find yourself homeless, suffering crazy mental problems. That's giving you everything you need to become a millionaire. The determination, the fact that you have to survive, all these things will happen. So do not, for fuck's sake, ask for lots of money or power. You ask for power, and you get put into a position of power. Next minute, you've got people trying to take you out of power, and all the snakes and all the shit that happens when you're dealing with power, and you haven't risen up slowly or been educated how to deal with said power. So you'll have a terrible time, even a deadly time. So you've got to be very, very humble and very careful once you start manifesting with the universe, and it is true. Manifest something small and believable. No matter what happens, don't question the journey, just keep going. Be thankful every step of the way. Because when you're thankful, you put out the energy and the message, and the universe gives you more to be thankful about. And the other thing people want is love. They say, bring me love. Well, you'd have love if you knew how to handle it and if you knew how to attract it. Trust me, I know. And a blues man for no reason. You're one of the most lonely motherfuckers in the world. So you manifest love. You've got women chasing you everywhere, and it's too much. You don't know how to handle it. It's breaking on your heart, making you even more lonely than you ever was. And then you feel all confused, and you know. So don't manifest these things. Be very humble. What did God say to Solomon? I'll give you anything you want. Solomon said, well, maybe if you gave me some wisdom, I'd be able to answer your question. That is pure humbleness. So God gave him the powers of God, bestowed God's powers on Solomon. Be humble. When you realize that you're manifesting with the universe, yes, you're asking God for something. I don't like the word God because I know there's more than one God. So I say source, universe, ether, whatever. But for anyone arguing saying there's God, all right, well, you call it God, I call it Bob. You're manifesting with Bob. So you must be humble, because you will be taught lessons, and if you're not thankful for these lessons, then you will not learn from these lessons. Nine times out of 10, you'll realise that it's your attitude that's bringing in the problems in your life, or what you've been told, and you believe it innocently. I was about to say foolishly, but that's not right. Innocently, you believe these things. You know? We were in proper poverty when I lived down with my mum when we first went down to seaside town and my parents split up. And I'll give you an idea of poverty. We would share, as a treat on a Friday, a packet of Angel Delight for dessert. Okay? One packet of Angel Delight, between 3, every Friday. And every month my dad would send down some money, and my mum would, bless her, my mum and dad, they weren't bad people. They just had hard lives and weren't good for each other, that's all. And I now know that, you know, that none of them meant, although I'm still quite angry from time to time, but then bringing me up from time to time. They're angry at me, so what goes around comes around. I don't hate them. I'm very thankful to them and I love them. So my mum would buy some fashionable clothes for me and my brother because we knew nothing. And I kept on saying, Mum, I need some clothes that are fashionable. I need some baggy jeans. I need some, because that's what it was baggy jeans, or you Americans would say baggy pants. I needed some baggy clothes. So bless her, she would go out with get some baggy jeans, some baggy clothes. There was these jeans called Herbie jeans and Spliffy jeans. Imagine I'm 8.5, 9 years old, and I'm being bought baggy jeans with a dude smoking a spliff on them. And next minute I'm blazing weed. There it is. Not that it's a problem really. I don't really, I think cannabis is a wonderful herb. But it's just the way my life was. I'm not bitter and resentment. I just talk how it was. And she would take us to Laser Maze on the pier, and then she would take us to McDonald's, and that was our monthly treat. Because she thought, and I was a kid, I knew no different, that's the right thing to do. That was the belief. Well, McDonald's is absolute gut shite, brain rot, soul destroying nastiness. Not even bacteria that makes shit disappear will touch McDonald's. Get that through your head. And the baggy jeans had pictures of dudes smoking spliffs and were called Herbie. So you got whole generations of kids smoking. And there weren't no weed like there is now back then where I come from. There was this stuff called soap bar, which was hash. The only thing you can do with it is use it as a doorstop or beat someone to death with it. That ain't hash to smoke, I guarantee you that. But that's what we had, that's all we knew. And it weren't even joints, it was bongs. You got to smoke a bong, you got to be able to... You couldn't go in a shop and buy a bong like you can today with a plastic. We'd make these things out of like Oasis bottles and milk bottles. Back when milk bottles were glass. And put some gutter in, whip it up with gaffer tape. Put some hose pipe down it, and then put a 7mm socket wrench set. There's your cup, and you move up to like a 14mm, loads of blue tack holding it in. Then we're our bongs, man. That's how I grew up. I'm surprised I've got any lungs left. I could blow out dark yellow smoke, clearing a massive 14mm cup, and you get better and better and better at it, and the rush you get afterwards is so fucking stupid of me. But I knew no different. That's what I believed what's to do, and I went out my way to even more because I had to be fashionable. And I'm so lucky I survived it. So many of my friends, I don't recognise them, so many of them are dead and in prison, their lives are just hopeless. If you believe something that isn't true, it can fuck up your whole life. And you genuinely believe you're doing the right thing, so you're going to pass that belief on to your children, fuck up their whole life. And you can even not question to the point where you'll say, hey, knuckle down, you don't want to go beep, beep, beep in Tesco's, do you, or supermarket, wherever. And now they go beep, beep, beep themselves with a self-scan, and they don't even question the fact that they're now costing people from having a job, and they don't even ask for a discount or why is this happening. They go along with it. They don't question nothing. And if you encourage them to question, then you get ostracised and your head bitten off. Well, I encourage you to question. I'm going to wind you up. I'm going to push your buttons. I'm going to make you look at your life. I'm going to encourage you to question. I'm even going to ask you questions. Call me Mr. Woo-Woo. It's not always the answer, it's the ability to ask a question that's worth answering. It's like the journey starts with 1,000 miles, or it's not the journey, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Once you get to the destination, the journey's over. Once you get your answer, the question's over. So come up with a question that's truly worth finding an answer for. Make this a habit. Start ending your sentences with question marks. What's the point of saying something that you know 90% of what you've been told is a crock of shit? So naturally you need to stop saying these things. You need to then say different things. Well, if you have no knowledge of things to say differently, you need to start questioning. So start questioning and be ruthless. Be absolutely ruthless, because you're going to be wrong a lot, a hell of a lot. When you break free, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to be wrong, you're going to think things are the case when they're not, then you're going to find out what is the case and be completely lost to the world. You try and fit back. I could fit in now if I wanted to. There's no way. I need to protect my energy as well. It's mine. No one else's. I've given so much of it away. That ain't happening no more. Fuck that. And what I give away, I choose to give away. And I don't want this anger and this frustration. So I transmute it and transform it. It makes my eyebrows go down, my focus stronger, and I start freestyling this waffle, this preaching and teaching and people reaching. And then when I feel I've had enough, and my stomach starts grumbling and I realise that there's more strolling to do, then I exercise my freedom to do so. Anyway, there it is. A lot of love, guys. See you next time.